Why I tore up my yard and why you should tear up your lawn too. I'm Madeline, a backyard Oklahoma gardener. And because I love nature and gardening, I'm always learning about plants. When I realized the importance of native plants, I just knew I had to take action. So I tore up my yard yet again. The best reason to tear up your lawn? To plant native plants. Why is planting native plants worth losing some or all of your lawn? I have 4 great reasons to share with you. But first, like and subscribe to catch more of my native gardening videos. And stick to the end of this video to learn how to find the best native plants for your area. Reason number 1 to plant native plants. They're non-invasive. Do you know that non-native plants can be invasive, which ends up harming our local ecosystems? Think of kudzu, Japanese honeysuckle, and English ivy. These are a few of the worst ones, and they literally choke out our native plants. We end up with native plants that are killed by the invasive plants. What's worse is that many of these plants are endangered native plants. Unlike non-native species, native plants live in harmony with their environment and don't harm other species. This is an excellent reason to tear up non-native species in your yard. But I have 3 more reasons. Reason number 2 to plant natives. They're easier to grow. Since they are adapted to local conditions, they are eco-friendlier. Lawns and exotic plants need more fertilizer, water, and pesticides than native species. Take a guess. How many tons of pesticides do you think we dump on United States lawns every year? We dump 70 million tons of pesticides on U.S. lawns every year. 70 million. Pesticides can run off and contaminate rivers and lakes, destroying their ecosystems and killing animals and plants. On the other hand, native species do not need pesticides, fertilizers, or water once established. Thus, all the beautiful creatures get to live. Plants do not need mowing, unlike lawns. Why does this matter? Because gas-powered gardening tools cause 5% of our air pollution in this country. This means by using non-native species, you're not only killing off our native species, but you're also polluting the very air you breathe. Hi, these videos on native plants for your state are sponsored by Wire and Fire Jewelry. According to dictionary.com, biodiversity is a term that describes the number of different species that live within a particular ecosystem. In other words, the more species that live within a particular ecosystem, the more biodiverse it is. And conversely, the less species in an ecosystem mean that it's less biodiverse. Why does biodiversity matter? To quote National Geographic, much of the Earth's biodiversity is in jeopardy due to human consumptions and other activities that disturb and even destroy ecosystems. How do native plants contribute to biodiversity? The National Wildlife Federation points out that native plants are a key. Native plants are a valuable source of food and shelter for birds, insects, and wildlife in the area. For example, native oak trees support over 500 caterpillar species, while non-native ginkgo trees support only 5. This means the native trees support 100 times the non-native trees. This distinction is significant. There are many species that eat caterpillars. One is the chickadee. Chickadee babies need thousands of caterpillars and a variety of species to thrive. Therefore, the native tree is clearly the winner if we want to enjoy the various species that eat caterpillars. Don't care about chickadees? Let's not forget the bees. They are number one in pollination. They pollinate at least 75% of food crops worldwide. So, if you like eating, you should be a fan of biodiversity. Without it, things like grapes, berries, melons, peppers, and nuts would no longer be on your menu. And whether or not you like broccoli and cauliflower, they too are pollinated by insects. Reason number 4. Plant native plants is because they fight climate change. Are you ready for a short earth science lesson on the causes of climate change? Take a deep breath. First, global warming is a type of climate change. One of the causes of global warming is increased sunlight reaching through the Earth's atmosphere. What's the cause of the increased sunlight? More carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. According to climate.gov, carbon dioxide concentrations are rising mainly because of people burning fossil fuels. The big problem right now is that CO2 levels are rising faster than ever in human history, leading to more sunlight coming through the atmosphere, making Earth hotter. Here's the bottom line. Today's global warming is an unprecedented type of climate change, and it's resulting in a cascade of side effects throughout our climate system. Ice is melting on land and sea levels are rising. And I'm quoting from NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. To decreased habitat as the sea ice melts, there has been a 40% decline in polar bear populations, according to the World Wildlife Fund. Even if you're not into polar bears, many other living things, including people, are impacted by these changes in our climate. Changes in sea level along heavily populated coastlines, and the worldwide retreat of mountain glaciers that millions of people depend on for drinking water and agriculture are likely to have a much greater impact on society than temperature change alone. Another quote from NOAA, climate change impacts us all. But on a positive note, native plants help decrease the CO2 that helps cause all this devastation and destruction. According to the Audubon Society, many native plants, especially long-living species like oaks and maples, are effective at storing the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide. It comes back to native plants. Just plant them. Get rid of non-native species in your yard or garden. To quote David Attenborough, whom you may know as a famous British conservationist, I am sure things are going to get worse before they get better, but I believe they can get better. Are you ready to jump in and plant native plants in your area? Comment below with your state, and I'll release a video soon. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified as I release videos for every U.S. state on the best native plants. Plus, you can get step-by-step help to find your best plants today by downloading my free How to Find the Best Native Plants for Your Area guide here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this will be helpful.